Nigga get mad. Say, motherfucker, what you mean you ain't gonna let me in this funky joint? Much money I done spent in here, nigga. I knew your mama when she was hoeing. Hump, baby. Shit, bet I do it over time. Fade that nigga. Shit.
It's going down like this, motherfucker.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Boy, I'm hungry as a hog need slop Jesus. Shit, gotta be a Jesus, cause too many black folks.
It's going down like this.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money.
All right, this is going to be a short little show. Just wanted to really get my picks in. So if you miss it, catch it next time. Last game I won the 2 picks on Monday night. So that put me 30-18 of the year. I end up going 9-7. So this is pick night Wednesday. That's about all I'm really going to go over. Tired, I got to get up early. So I'm just going to get these picks in, and that's going to be about it. So, Cowboys and the Giants. The Cowboys are giving away 5 to the Giants, but I'm still going to go with the Cowboys. Bengals at the Panthers. The Bengals are getting a +1. Where am I at? Panthers, Bengals, all that. Bengals are giving up 4. So if you take the Carolina Panthers and giving up 4, the Bengals are giving up 4, but I'm still taking the Bengals. I don't think they're going to cover, though. Saints and Falcons. The Falcons are giving up 1. So it's the Falcons are getting 1 at Atlanta. So I am picking Falcons to win that one. The next one is this is a little different than mine. Jags and okay, I'm gonna just follow the line up here. Cincinnati, I got that one. Rams and Bears. The Rams are +3. So the Rams are giving up 3 to the Bears. I've got the Rams to beat the Bears. Vikings and Green Bay. I have the Vikings giving the 2.5 to Green Bay. Jacksonville is giving up 7 at Houston. I'm picking Houston. Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. I am going with the Steelers. Let me see. I'm going right now. Broncos and the Jets. The Broncos are getting 7.5. I am going with the Jets at home. The Eagles are giving up 2.5 to Tampa Bay. Of course, I'm going with the Eagles. Commanders at Arizona. I'm going with the Commanders. I was impressed with them last week. Patriots are +10 at San Francisco. Chiefs are giving up 8 to the Chargers. I am going with the Chargers and taking the 8. So that's the only one I'm gonna take the points on. The rest of them I'm just playing. Cleveland and the Raiders. As much as I would like Cleveland, I think the Raiders should win at home, but the Cleveland is only giving up a point. Buffalo's giving up 2 to Baltimore, and I am going with the Bills. And then Tennessee and Miami, I am going with the Dolphins. I'm going with the Dolphins to win at home. The Titans is giving up 1.5. Seattle and Detroit. Seattle is giving Seattle's a +3. So Detroit's giving up 3 to Seattle. I am still taking Detroit at home. I don't really mess with the money line. But the over and under, Cowboys and Giants is 45. New Orleans and Atlanta is 42. Now, remember last week, a lot of these games was under, and it seemed like the 48 was the under mark. Cincinnati and the Panthers, I doubt that one's going to go to 48. One to look for is the Rams and the Bears, 41. I'd say probably under 41, but if the Rams blow them out, they might hit that. But that's a game to look at because it's such a different than some of these other scores. Vikings and Packers is 43.5. I think it's going to be lower than that. Jacksonville at Houston is 45. Pittsburgh at Indianapolis is 40. Broncos, Jets, 38. Might want to look at that. Commanders in Arizona is 50. I say under that, way under that. New England and San Francisco is 39. That's one to keep your eye on with that kind of number. Kansas City at the Chargers in Kansas City, 39. Another one to pay attention to. Cleveland and the Raiders, 37. May as well be under 37. They might not be a great scoring game. And then you have Buffalo at the Ravens. And then you have Tennessee at the Dolphins. Okay, Buffalo at the Ravens is 46. And so we see this 0.5. That's one to probably pay attention to. Titans and Dolphins is 37. I would say probably under that 37. Seattle at Detroit, it's at 47. I think 48 is the magic number we were seeing last week. But if we're looking at the averages and the ones that probably pay attention to is probably the 37 of Miami. Again, Detroit and Seahawks is 47. I don't think it's going to reach that. But the ones I would pay attention to is definitely Miami, definitely the Raiders under. I would say the Chargers and Chiefs because the games have been low scoring so far. So with this 50 of the Cardinals and Commanders, I would say it probably will gonna. They're trying to sucker you in at 50.5. I would probably take the over on that game. That probably is going to go over. They're going to make money on this one because a lot of people are going to go under for that game, and I think it'll probably go under because it's only 25 apiece. So. The Rams and Green Bay, they're trying to get everybody in on the under. I would say this one will probably go over at 41. I think the Rams are more incapable, but the Bears can't score, so that one's kind of being looked for. So I see Dr. Sinister's in the house. Thank you, Dr. Sinister.
Got to have vision.
For coming. I really appreciate you coming. Again, this is not going to be a very long night. Just kind of wanted to come in and get these picks in. So those of you interested in money line, Cowboys is a minus 250. So you got to spend 250 to win 100 on the Cowboys. You've got to spend 200 to win 100 because it's a plus 200 for the Giants. New Orleans is you got to spend 100 to win 105. For Atlanta, you got to spend 100 to win 125. So it looks like the Giants, you got to spend 200 to win 100 on the Giants game. So the Giants looks like they're favorite of the Cowboys. But on the other hand, the Cowboys, you got to pay 250 to win 100. Cincinnati, you got to pay 225 to win 100. The Panthers, you only got to spend 180 to win 100. The Rams, you got to spend 125 to win 100. 125. The Bears, you got to spend 145 to win 100. Now that one, I don't know if I touched that. Now the Vikings isn't bad. You got to spend 110 to win 100. Green Bay, you've got to spend 135 to win 100. Jacksonville is 260 to win 100. Texans is 350. Wow, 350 to win 100. So Texans are favored there. Pittsburgh 125. You got to spend 125 to win 100. Indianapolis, you got to spend 105 to win 100. That's not bad. The Jets are highly favored. You got to spend 350 to win 100, whereas you got to spend 280 for Denver to win 100. Eagles is 145 to win 100. Tampa is 120 to win 100. Washington is 145 to win 100. Arizona is 175. So they're kind of looks like that's the sucker bet. Patriots is plus 400 to win 100, and you got San Francisco is 550 to win 100. So I wouldn't touch those. Chiefs is 400 to win 100, and you got the Chargers. You got to spend 325. Cleveland is minus 105. You got 115 for the Raiders. Bills is 115. Ravens is 140. Tennessee is 110. Dolphins is 110 too. So. And then finally, Seattle is 155. Detroit is 190. So, Siova, the technician, what's happening?
Got to have vision.
And then we've got Elmer Amaru Khan, also known as El Does It. What's happening?
Got to have vision.
Yeah, so as I said, this is not going to be a very long night. I was just really to get the picks in was my biggest thing. And we got all the news. We know we got the action in New York. They going after the brother, which we knew they were going to do. They always throw corruption in everybody's face, and corruptions is everywhere. Oh, who we got here? We got Benny Golson, a saxophonist. In the morbid news, Benny Golson, saxophonist and jazz composer. The composer for TV shows MASH and Mission Impossible. Wow. Dun, 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 dun. I wonder if that's him. Dun, 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 dun. Saxophonist and composer died in his home. His agent, okay. That's known for two distinct careers, music and industry, is a highly accomplished jazz musician and later as a jazz composer for TV shows such as MASH, Mission Impossible, and The Partridge Family, as well for films, Where's It At and Ed's Next Move. Additionally, several of Golson's compositions have been recognized as standards, including I Remember Clifford, Whisper Not, and Blues March, Killer Joe, and Stablemates. Musician was born music-inclined family in 29. At 9 years old, he started playing piano, but by 14, he switched to saxophone after witnessing Armette Cobb perform with Lionel Hampton's big band. In his adolescence, he performed with local musicians and would also become icons with jazz, such as Mr. Coltrane, the drummer Billy Jones, and the Heath Brothers. Then he then played jazz and marching bands at Howard. Wow. Upon graduation, he became a full-time musician where he performed with Hampton Ensemble and Earl Bostic, Ted Dameron, and Dizzy Gillespie. Eventually, he joined Art Blakely's band, The Messengers, in 58. That year, Art Kane photographed 57 musicians at the East 128th. The photograph became the subject of the Oscar-nominated documentary A Great Day in Harlem, as well as Steven Spielberg movie The Terminal, starring Tom Hanks searching for Golson, who does appear in the film. I've never heard of that film. The Terminal, never heard of it. The same year, he married his wife, Bobby, who survived him. The couple welcomed one daughter, Brielle, who had survived. He welcomed three sons, Otis, Reggie, and Robert, who preceded him with his first wife. So they must have died. He formed six-member jazz pianists and trombonists. The group disbanded. He formed the Jazzettes. 60s began to evolve. Gibson joined friend Quincy Jones in L.A., where he began his second successful career by writing, arranging music for television and film. I wanted to do more than play tenor sax, he said. The following decade, he composed, including MASH, Mod Squad, and many more. By then, he decided to return to New York and eventually reinstated the Jazzettes in 82, leading the troupe. I want to establish myself as a player once more. He was named National Endowment for Arts Master the same year at Howard, established Benny Golson Music Award. He continued to tour and accompany music in his 90s. In 16, he released autobiography, Whisper Not, told his author that his illustrious career was due to his ongoing need for creative pursuits, since being satisfied is a curse, he said. So I'm not hip to him, but if you're hip to this brother, went to Howard, Benny Golson, not hip to him. Yeah, New York is burning. Yeah, it is. New York is burning. But I don't think we are surprised by New York burning. I don't think it's something that surprises us. He ain't the first. He ain't going to be the last of corruption, Eric has been indicted. So indicted doesn't mean they got you yet. But he's been indicted and it's still sealed. So we'll see. Against are still sealed Wednesday, so they're still sealed. It's first reported, his attorney in Manhattan declined to comment. He said he always knew if he stood his ground, he'd be a target. But I don't know. I think it's more than that. But you got to give it to him. His dressing is nice. But, New York is known for corruption. So it's not hard to be corrupt in New York. And right now they're trying to call. They don't even want to call the all the people. I was watching a thing. I think it was Nick Taylor that put out. What was it? Nick Taylor. Oh, Nick Taylor put out a thing on the people from Venezuela, And the people from Venezuela are first-time home builders. Like, how are these immigrants, saving up enough money? They didn't say how long they've been here, but how are these immigrants, and they're not migrants. Migrant workers are farm workers. They come here for a short period of time to farm, not to move over here. Oh, check this out. uh, Says Serena's husband says young daughter won't play sports until she's paid fairly. Serena's daughter, Olympia, could be the next athlete. She's old enough, but only under one condition. The tennis legend is open to her 7-year-old daughter going down the career path she's interested in. It happens to be sports. She wants to make sure her daughter is paid what she's worth. We're watching the final of the World Cup from the rented house in Wimbledon. While speaking somewhere, Olympia was running around in her Alex Morgan jersey, and I said, wouldn't it be great if she played on the national team one day? And Serena was like, not until they pay her what she's worth. So already putting that she should get that bread, which I agree. That's did y'all see the Lynx? That was a good game. They I kind of hate I didn't go to it. The Lynx end up beating Brittany Griner and Taurasi. Taurasi shouldn't have made the Olympic team. Taurasi should have retired 10 years ago. She has nothing left. She is straight up trash, but yeah, she is straight up trash. But the Lynx beat them. The Lynx, I think, will play Connecticut next. Let's see. I'm always... No, not here. I don't want to see it there. Let's see if they'll give me prices here. They give me the same thing. I could have just looked it up. Let's see. Price of gold. I'm price of gold. Oh, this is going to take me into a company. I don't want a company. I want what the stocks hit. Let's see. 1 ounce of gold. What did it go for today? Oh, here we go. I think. And they're giving me these charts. Oh, here we go. All right, let you see. Up here. Gosh, I'm blind, y'all. All right, the price of gold is $2,600. So, if you go to pawn it, you're going to get a lot more. You pawn your gold, you're not going to get this 2,600, but you're going to get a lot more. But if you want an ounce to buy an ounce of gold, then you spend this 26 to get your ounce of gold, which is up $4. Now, if you want an ounce of silver, it's $31, which is not bad. And what is the change in price? $4, $149. We had a big jump. But just think about 20 years ago, it's almost 2,000 more. You see that? Then 5 years ago, it's almost 15 more. A year ago, it was 800 less, 400 less 6 months ago, and now 149. So, and if you look at this chart, you see. And so gold has been a good solid bet. Now, silver 20 years ago was at it's $25 more. Silver was worth $5. Then $14 a year ago, $9. So you see, went up $7 today. So those of you that are so inclined, to get silver or gold, it is not a bad option. I'll say that. It's not really a bad option to invest your money in that. Let me see what the stock market closed at today. Oh, the stock market was down today. The S&P was 5,700 down 10.67%. Verizon was down. The Dow Jones was minus 293. So look at your 401ks. Your S&P was 5726, as I mentioned, down 10%, or down. Yeah, down 10%, down minus 293 points. So that, yeah, the S&P, the Dow Jones is down 293 points. Or excuse me, the Dow Jones. Trying to see what else. Disney is up to 93 a share. GE is $1.89 a share, which is minus 23. Guess that's, oops. So everybody looks like everybody sold today. Nike is up $88. Verizon is down to $44 a share. Let's see. Did this the other day in it. So you should always watch, your 401ks to see where your money is. Don't let them, you put the money into what you want to put it in instead of letting them put it in what they want to put it in. And that's what they want to do. You should always know where your money's going. That's the biggest thing, is know where your money's going, y'all. Instead of letting them, put it into anything, you put it in. You put like right here, it says the price of gold keeps climbing to unprecedented heights. Again, you can't lose. You buy chains, you buy bracelets, they're worth more. And you're going to spend a lot more. That's definitely sure. Oh, man. What is this? More footage of them? More footage of them dumb motherfuckers was in the, let me see. It's looping for it. Why are you looping? Try this again. It's pretty close. Oh, give me a fucking commercial. I mean, there's some things we just ain't gonna do. Brothers ain't gonna get into a damn submarine where you're gonna go 12 hours to get to the bottom. We just don't care. Like, we don't care about to see the sunken Titanic. But this is what some of the stuff is left of how that thing blew up and how loosely it was made. They're getting some of the wreckage. But the dude, it was a money grab for dude. And dude did risk his life to convince other people, because if it didn't blow up, he was going to get the money. But he blew up good. And that's not something we would just do. Brothers ain't trying to do that, so and it was a money grab. Oh, this is video game. And again, we saw this picture there. I showed this picture the other day. This is part of it. Most of it blew the fuck up. So, and that's what it looked like. Would you want to be in this motherfucker for 12 hours? 12 hours in that thing. 12 hours. They asked me if they wanted me to be a pilot that runs a Titanic mission. I told them I am not getting in it. And he asked me why. And said, because the operators crew, I don't trust them. Operations crew, I don't trust them. 5 people, including Ocean Gate's Rush, were killed in the incident. He got blowed the fuck up. So that just ain't something we gonna do, We ain't trying to do all that. Brothers got more common sense, but a lot of times, that's why I say, don't let money kill you, Don't let money kill you. And that's what happens a lot of times. People got money and they let the money kill them. So it's like when people, and and I'll say that goes in a lot of things, because a lot of people, they like if you have a pool and you have young children, you gotta have alarms. It would be good to put alarms on their wrist, anytime they get into the pool area. So, I mean, you can't let money kill your children. You can't let money kill your children. If you got reckless children, don't buy them fast cars. Like my oldest son, I know he liked to drive fast, so his fast car was a Caddy. So there was no way that 4-door Caddy was, they kind of got up and go, but it was 96, 97 Caddy with the North Stars, and they wasn't known for fast cars. So there's another cat that died. I don't know who he is. John Mayall. Never heard of him. Guess he's an old rocker that died. Theodis Monk's Around Midnight. Okay, I like Theodis Monk. I don't know if y'all like Theodis Monk or not, you know. But his Around Midnight song is 80 years old. Around Midnight, first recorded 80 years old this month. Wow. He was born in Rocky Mount, grew up in New York where he studied classical music and piano. By the early 40s, he was performing in Harlem. He developed orthodox and controversial style with limited right hand flashes, sweet and sour dissonance, and skeletal rather than crowded chords, surprising silences, and manifest inventiveness. He composed more standards than any other jazz artist except for Duke Ellington. Monk gained a reputation as reclusive and elusive and elusive. Okay. Early 40s, he penned a piece called Around Midnight, one of the most evocative titles, and it won favor among the courtier listeners. I think that's for it was one of the most titles. The band of and it won favor among the courtier listeners. The band of Cootie Williams, the alumni of Ellington, cut the premise disc on August 22nd of 44. Williams was listed as composer for adding the interlude at the subsequent. Musicians have disregarded. The composition opens with a striking 5-note motif that sets a minor key, recurring 8 times as an anchoring limit off Monk's 2 main themes, sinuous and seductive and unpredictable, among the most memorable jazz. The piece artfully balanced ascending and descending lines, weaving in rich, unexpected harmonies that heighten its allure. Even Dizzy Gillespie's virtual trumpeter, who pushed jazz beyond its limit in the new style called bebop. When Gillespie recorded Around Midnight in 46, he had a dramatic prelude and cadenza, which most later artists have adopted. Another trumpeter, Miles Davis, liked the piece into a pedestal, gave it a blazing spotlight, immortalized it until he recorded Around Midnight in 56. 62 recordings have been made on the final album for the Columbia Records, titled Round About Midnight. His hooded and broadening versions played a Harmon mute and arranged by Gil Evans and proved consequential for his career in the song. As Davis admitted in the autobiography, it's hard to learn to remember adding. It was very difficult because I had complex melody. You had to hang on it together. And yet Round Midnight had become the 4th most recorded jazz work with over 2,000 different versions, a testament to the composer and the piece, the musicians who embraced it. So revered was Round Midnight. It has been called the national anthem of jazz. Unlike the Star Spangled Banner sporting events, however, performing Round Midnight has never been obligatory musicians. But learning it, that's because a part of the core repetitive and essential knowledge of being a jazz artist. At Monk's instrumental piano was unsurprising, and his showpiece has attracted many pianists. Composer, pianist Jason Moran first heard Round Midnight at 13, and it changed his life as Monk showed him the root of jazz piano. Piano John Lewis recorded it 20 times, Bill Evans 26 times, and Monk recorded 39 times. Late Night lyrics were written by a little-remembered songwriter Barry Harrington, also supervised Brunswick Records and Billy Holiday. It begins to tell around midnight, I do pretty well. Till after sundown, supper time, I'm feeling sad, but it really gets bad around midnight. The versatile words and melodies of such great jazz artists as Ella Fitzgerald, Mel Torme, and Betty Carter. Such pop singers as Edie Gourmet and Sting and Amy Warehouse. Tempo is the key to interpreting Round Midnight. Monk typically performed it somewhere between 62 and 78 beats per minute. Other instrumentals have slacked it to good effect. For example, guitarist Kenny Burrell at 57. Singers have tended to milk core more emotion from his lyrics. Torme to 55, Fitzgerald to 50. Pianists like Luke Gillespie even dialed it down to a serene 40. Transferred to atmospheric figurations. So, if you want to hear Monk is pretty deep. I do enjoy his work. I must admit, I think I like Monk even more than Miles Davis. But my favorite jazz artist of all time is John Coltrane. Coltrane is, my favorite artist. So I did Coltrane. If you guys, so if you guys are into jazz, and jazz is really smooth to listen to. I mean, it's high vibrational music. It really is. Um, and it's like thinking music. And I don't know if people understand or can appreciate, thinking music, because a lot of music today don't really, that what do they call it? What did my man call it? The hooker music, stripper music. You got nobody wants to hear Drake anymore, but it's just like, you can listen to jazz, and if you just like want to relax and play something that's just going to help you relax, jazz is the perfect thing. And as I told you before, I'm getting back into playing records. I'm getting back into playing vinyl and listening to jazz and listening to this high vibrational music and even R&B. I bought Earth, Wind and Fire Live, which I'd bought in ninth grade. What is the other one I rebought? Oh, Superfly, which, Curtis Mayfield is masterful. He's a real band composer. And so, these sound so much better on the record compared to getting the machine to play it for you. So I like it. And as I said before, I got a simple system now. I'm going to get a much more expensive system. So, you got to start somewhere. So it's getting me back into something that I always loved. And as I've said many times, growing up and in college, I always had two turntables, and I always would blend music. That's why with this box here, I got all the sounds,
Got to have vision.
because it's the same kind of blending. That's why I would have two turntables, and I would always blend things from the cassette as well, or blend something from the reel. I would have Richard Pryor playing to some Jimi Hendrix. I'd have Jimi Hendrix, going in the background. Then I'd have Richard Pryor rapping, telling jokes over it. So, I've always liked that kind of thing, So I like the blending the sounds. That's why, And when I go through the sounds, I also go through, some of the greats. I think it's great to hear Malcolm's voice, Richard Pryor's voice. Even though I know Dick Gregory was an agent, still, sometimes when agents don't get attention, they start giving up stuff. So, but Dick Gregory, I got a clip where he says he sold his sold. He says he sold his sold. How did he put it? If I can find it. Right there. I think it's not that one. I think it's on the next one. Yeah, right here.
Some people, they feel like you almost have to sell your soul to get fame, or is it just hard work, or is it luck, is it consequence, is it?
No, most of us in sold our soul. We just called it something else.
See, they call it something else. So that just tells you, that ties into, what they had to do today. I was listening to some White Cats, man. And these White Cats, the dude said to get his part or something in a movie, he had to let this dude suck his stuff. Another dude said he had to drink, like they have a cookie party. He said he had to drink some skeet. So, oh, you have two turntables? Bad. So you definitely got that vision. So I'm gonna end up having two myself, but I'm gonna get one. One I got now is just the bass, and the speakers are, speakers aren't that great. It was just we had to spend some money, so I was looking through the little catalog of stuff, because it was like somebody sent us something as a wedding gift, so we was looking at everything. It's like, let's get back into music. So the speakers, I can upgrade the speakers because the turntable in itself is a tuner, but it's a pretty low grade turntable, so I'm gonna upgrade to it. Because I like hearing those tweeters, and that's why the music in cars sounds so good. But still, they're not even records, and that's why cassettes was better, because you were really, unless you recorded off the radio, you record off of you record off a record. That's what we used to do when you first started recording, was recording off records. But later, we would record off of record off the radio, of course. When you make a bunch of tapes, you record off the radio and then bump that stuff. So, Yeah, did you see Reggie Bush is suing the NCAA? They're gonna give Reggie Bush some bread too, the way they treated him. And it's funny if you looked in the 50, there's two movies. There's a movie called Horse Feathers by the Marx Brothers, which shows the corruption of pro football, college football back then. And this is from the 20s. The Three Stooges made a movie, I think, in the late 40s, I think, right after World War II, I think. And this movie was basically talking about the corruption of football, how you could pay players to play. So this was something that wasn't unheard of. I can remember being a boy and being a Michigan State game and a dude would get a touchdown. They're like, oh, he just got him a new car. And there's a famous picture of Moses Malone with two LTDs the University of Maryland gave him. And it's funny, you know, you go to University of Maryland, they still count Moses Malone as an alumni, but he never went there. He went straight to the Utah Stars of the ABA. So I was like, wait a minute, he never went here. So what is this? Wow. Let's see if I can get this in here. This is interesting here. Check this out. His name is wow. Masasuti Yokasha, who died, was the navigator and bombardier for the Imperial Japanese Army, is thought to be the last survivor of those who attacked Pearl Harbor. Wow, he lived all those years. I wonder where he was when the bomb went off. He flew a Najama, nicknamed Kate by the Americans, carrying a single 80-kilogram torpedo modified for shallow water. By the time he arrived at Pearl Harbor before 8, having flown nearly 2 hours across the Pacific, the surprise attack fleet was underway and all wrapped in black smoke, told Japan Forward. There was only 2 ships that I could clearly see. His pilot flew dead on, and one of the ships, Yukama, who was 20, then deployed his torpedoes. I spotted out of the corner of my eye 2 narrow white columns of seawater about 2 meters in diameter and 30 feet high, exploding up right beside the vessel. Direct hit. He watched the mast tilt as the ship filled with water. But it turned out to be the battleship Utah, which sank at a cost of 58 lives. Needlessly, the Japanese airmen had been under strict instruction not to waste time on the Utah, who was only used as a training vessel. He only realized his mistake when he noticed the Utah's gun turret did not have barrels. He was born in 1918 and joined the Imperial Navy in 36. He started as a ground crew maintaining biplanes, but accepted Navy training in 38, and in 39 was posted the air carrier Soja. To ordinary Japanese service, the enemy meant the Chinese. The war was the second Sino-War. His military service has thus revolved around the nationalist forces of Chiang Kai-shek. Even when training suddenly shifted in 41 to torpedo attacks using a dummy warhead filled with water, he did not dream that it might be the USA. On November 26, they left the port of Hikupatu, far north under Russian control. The crew tried to guess their destination. The pipes were still wrapped with asbestos, which suggested a cold weather environment, but they also been told to pack shorts. When Admiral Nahito, leader of the carrier battle group, announced that they were heading to Hawaii, the blood rushed out of my head, he said. I knew this meant a gigantic war, and Hawaii would be the place where I would die. On this November 2nd, he gave the coded signal climb Mount Nikoto, which announced that negotiations with America had broken down. The attack on Pearl Harbor was going ahead. He flew support missions for the attack on Wake Island in 41 and took part in the Indian Ocean raid in 42. He would be sunk at the battle. The Sonia would be sunk at the Battle of Midway in 42, but survived because he was on leave. He then survived the Palau Islands, but was invalidated to the Philippines with malaria before the bloody Battle of Palau. When the Kamikaze attacks on the Allied fleet started, there were no parts for the Kates, and Yukasha grounded lived near the Imperial surrender broadcast. After the war, he worked as a transport company for the reformed Japanese Navy. He remained silent about his wartime experience until old age. He said, it's a shame that I'm the only one who survived a long life. So a little history there. And I've told the story of my grandfather. My grandfather went to Pearl Harbor the day after. The day after Pearl Harbor, he had to go in. So what would that be? The 7th, the 8th? And he never wanted to go back to Hawaii because it always reminded him of smelling death. And death has, especially burned bodies, have a particular smell. So that stayed with him the rest of his life. My grandfather was in the Navy. Oh yeah, and you see, they killing niggas, executing them. You know, Texas always leads with executions. So they killed. I know they killed this man right here. They killed him. So let's see. Okay, so for this one. All right. Can you imagine going in there, how your heart would be beating and stuff? You know, they don't shock you. They give you that shot, and that shot kills you. I think he's okay. This dude is the first inmate to be executed was Freddie Owens in South Carolina. Received a lethal injection Friday evening, despite a friend's 11th hour admission. He lied in testimony to save his own life. His friend stated that the death row inmate was not at a convenience store when the clerk was killed, but the Supreme Court refused to halt the execution. The governor did not grant clemency. He said, bye. Owens was the inmate to receive the ejection in 13 years. So, South Carolina. Texas is set to execute Travis Mills. Wow, 30. He's young. Who's convicted of stomping 3-year-old son more than 16 years ago. Wow, he was young when he stomped his son. Let me see, 10 years, 16 years. He was 22. Damn. He now intends to challenge the case after only killing his son and saying that his punishment fit the crime. He's scheduled to receive a lethal injection. Wow. Missouri set to administer lethal injection to Marcellus Williams. He was convicted in 1988 of murder of Lisa Gale, a former St. Louis Dispatch police reporter. Williams had continued to assist his innocent, arguing that his DNA was not found at the crime scene, but the state Supreme Court and governor denied clemency to Williams. He'd be the third inmate to be executed in Missouri. Oh, he looks weird. Alabama slave to execute Alan Miller on Thursday received a reprieve 2 years ago as officials were not able to find a vein to connect with intravenously. Miller was convicted of shooting 3 people in workplace rampage in 1999, including 2 co-workers and a former supervisor. He is set to die via a mask placed on his face. Wow. That seems rather cute, cruel, and inhumane. Thought they killed him already. Emmanuel Littlejohn that's American Indian name, was convicted in the 19 shooting, a robbery that left a convenience store owner dead. He claimed he did not shoot the store, and the state's pardon and parole board recommended the governor grant Littlejohn clemency, but no decision has been made on Littlejohn. So, around the country, they still killing niggas and, well, killing a little bit of everybody. What did H. Rap Brown say? Killing in America is normal as apple pie. So, Joey, thank you for coming.
Got to have vision.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it, you coming in. I said I'm not gonna go terribly long. Okay, if I get an hour, I'll be happy. Not gonna go terribly long. So that's some of the basic news. You want to look at some of the other things, that's on you. But I just give you my point of view. I do want to get into what I've been getting into. I've been meditating every day. I've had more time. And it's interesting when you break new barriers and you go further than you've went before. And, something I talk about in the book of Tibetan Book of the Dead is, meeting unagreeable entities and making them agreeable. And so without an understanding of, Tibetan Book of the Dead are one, but without that understanding, it might scare you because you might think it's not there to, guide you. It might not, something else. And then, to peel off the layers of reality through meditation it's not too many other ways you can peel away the reality of this life. But through meditation, you can get in. And what's interesting is, usually I used to smoke and be high, but like now it's just sober. And I'm still hitting like where I go through, where I'm going to go to when I pass. I already go there. And I would recommend all of you find. And as I said before, like when purple comes in, when you meditate, and that's usually how you move. When you're moving with purple. So when you're in the purple, you're moving through space-time. But then you start seeing the more solid and you start seeing the fractals. And that's those are the where you're going to end up. That's what's going to come in. Because like I've said before, death is like a wall. And death is almost like a painted wall. It's like you almost become absorbed in a painted wall. You're almost like paint into a wall. That's kind of what death is. It's like when you paint on something, the way the paint sticks to the wall, death is like a wall where, you get painted into, source. You get painted into the source. The Gnostic words say, where you go to the source and sing to the stars, so I think that is like one of the goals of what true immortality would be, just being able to sit around with source energy or however be absorbed by the source energy, however it is. And, it's like, it makes me think of, it's like they always say the gods are immortal. Then, why would the gods invent death? Because death would have to be, created from the same thing that man is created from. They're saying we're stardust and all that. Death would have to be created from the same thing. And why would gods need death? Now, we know demigods like Achilles, Hercules, these demigods could die too. Achilles, again, died, get shot in Achilles. That was the only place. His mother supposedly held him by his ankle and dipped him, and no other way you could kill him but that way. But again, why would, immortals create something that really only affects mortals? And animals and plants are all mortals as well. But then we know that there are trees out there that has cloned itself for 200-300 years. So that tree doesn't know death. That tree just knows more of itself. It has spread itself for hundreds of years. And again, a tree is a great life because what does the tree really need? Water and sun. Trees communicate. When they're being attacked by bugs, they put the word out to the other trees, and the trees start having counters. There's counter smells out there, counter things to start attacking them bugs. It's like one of the trees I'm connected to, and that's a beautiful thing when you have a property is, connect to a tree on your property. Let that tree be your tree, and then you can ground with it. But anyway, one thing I noticed about the tree I was connected to, when the tree would get in trouble, the tree would release a sap, so the ants would start coming into the tree. And the ants would be eating what attacked the tree. So this sap would attract the ants, but then the ants would see the bugs, and it would go eat the bugs. So the ants, so the tree gave the ants the sweet nectar that it was looking for, but it also bugs that the ants would naturally attack and eat. So if you can dig that. And it's like, the death is supposed to be something we're so fearful of and on your mind. Even when, ill health, they want you to be fearful of it. But once you accept and you love every moment, then, it's like, it's coming. You see it every day. You see insects die. You see animals dead on the side of the road. So, it's part of life. And, as I've mentioned before, King said, everybody wants to live forever. But really, would you really want to live forever? Like what my great-grandfather said is all my friends have died. Now I'm seeing my mother almost in the same kind of category where she's the last of her line. All her cousins. She's the last sibling. And she was the youngest, of course, but she was the last sibling. She's the last sibling. She's the oldest person in my immediate family. And then of all the cousins, I think she's the oldest in the family. They're still alive. Of all the family, I think she's the oldest. Of all our relatives, I think my mother is the oldest at this point. And so, I don't know, people look at immortality, wouldn't that be more of a curse? Because like I showed a picture of a dude, some shows a couple years ago, and the guy was 130 and he's still smoking hash. He was still smoking opium. And it looked like more like he was trapped than more than a gift of immortality. It looked more like a trap, having to stay here, especially when you see everybody, going away. And then we know, the body can live to be 200 years. You can look at some of my old thumbnails and you see that the Chinese dude that was born, he was born in the 1600s, and the dude didn't die until the 1900s. Lived 230 years. And then there's, rumors around people around the world that still live like that. But of course, evil can live like that as well. Wickedness can live like that. But it appears more than what they do is reincarnation is the way they keep going. And that's something they would gladly want you to get into. Because the longer you live, the more knowledge you obtain, the more virtuous you should be. Because we definitely all get more conservative. And I don't mean conservative as far as, Republican, Democrat. I don't mean that. I mean just the way we look at things. We become more conservative with the way we look at life. We don't take the chances we would take as a young person. You tend not to be reckless. And that's what I mean by conservative. I meant to say as reckless. You just become more conservative. And it's like patience, like my sons all said, I was easier on them. I was easier on my younger children than my old children. My wife was teased. She's like, you don't do anything to that girl. Well, to jack a child up is not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable to jack a child up anymore. Because we're in the restaurant and she's playing with her ice and shit. She's trying to get, she gets the Shirley Temples and she's trying to get the cherry out. And so, she's splashing ice all over. And it's like, the only way you can really threaten them is taking their phone away. What is this? Hey, Blue Marvel, what's happening, man?
You got to have vision.
I saw you call me for a few times. Let me know if you want to do a show. Because I can put us on this one thing. It's not StreamYard, or it's not, what's that shit called with the duck? It's not that, it's something else. I'll show you how to get on if you want to do a show with me and interview you. So let me know. I was hoping PJ, if PJ sees this the same with him, I want to do another show with him because I know he got the equipment and he's got a lot to say about things. It says 10th listeria death tied to Boarhead's meat, deli meat. I just saw a truck yesterday delivering Boarhead's meat. Said the 10th person has died from it. I was like, wow, I thought they had held up of putting that meat out. I got Zoom. It would be Discord, I think it's called. Whoa. Yeah, it would be Discord. Yeah. No. That's Streamlabs. It would be, let's see, what's this called? It is called not that. It's on here though. Let's see. See here. Yeah, Discord. Yeah. You just come to Discord, and my Discord is what is my name on here? Flint Pontiac. So I'm Flint Pontiac on Discord. So I'll give you a call. I just get busy and then don't feel good sometimes. So, and then got, ton of doctor's appointments and meetings with folks. So, but yeah, we can get on Discord and you can come under Flint Pontiac and I'm gonna open that back up for people that want to come on. And if you got something to say or want to ask some live questions, we can go through that. So those of you that have something to say, yeah, you got Discord. Cool. Yeah, that's all it is. I'm under Flint Pontiac. And yeah, I can bring you in like that. And so we can kick it. Because you do have a lot of knowledge. But remember this, it's like communication is a two-way street, brother. I know you got a lot to say, but you be going, but you got to learn a little bit to listen, because conversation got to be two ways. So I know you got a lot of knowledge, and that's cool. I already know you got the knowledge. So, but yeah, let me know you want to do that. Trying to think, maybe Friday. Yeah, maybe Friday we could do it. I'll have to hit you up and see what time. Because I don't know if homecoming is this weekend or not. So we might go to homecoming game. So not sure. I'm not sure if my daughter's going to want to go to the game or not. So if she does, then it'll be a little later. I think we'll probably get out of there around 9:30, 10-ish. So shoot for around 10 or 11 Friday, or maybe even late as midnight. I ain't got nothing to do Saturday, so I can go a little later on Friday night. But I get up early. I get up at 5:30 every day to take my daughter to school. So get my ass up early, which I don't mind. I enjoy doing it. I come back and drink coffee and then take a nap. Yeah, so. But it's been, the weather's been beautiful. I still walk. I walked 2.5 miles today. I got a little lake I go around, and the lake has oak trees. It has red oaks and black oaks, and I can go there and ground. It's a magical lake. The natives, when they lived here, they would go there. They would make pilgrimages. They'd walk over there, or they'd row the boats down to get close to it. And it's a magical lake. I take my pendulum over there, and my pendulum goes crazy in different spots. So it's kind of a magical spot, and it's as I said before, when I walk, I like to be in less pollution as possible. And a lot of places you go, I'm exposed to a lot more pollution. So we find these other little lakes that we can go to that's away from pollution, because your lungs are working hard enough, and then you don't want to breathe all the gas and stuff, all the exhaust fumes. That's why highways have bike paths, and I don't understand that, because again, when you're exerting yourself, you don't want to be exerting yourself on these bike paths, or near highways, because just the pollution is bad air, as they call it. It's bad air that you don't really want to see. So. But yeah, I was just talking about that deaf thing, and to get back to that, it's again, it's like, it's something that, if you enjoy everything now, if you appreciate everything now, that's prepares you. And again, no regrets. Because if you lay in there and you dying and you say, I got regrets, well, they'll bring you back. They're like, oh, we got one. Because they listen for these key words. And regret is one of those key words that just sets you up to bring you right back. It's like it puts you back in the pinball machine and shoots you back out. But if you go and, no regrets. And it's funny, it's like, think about this, one thing people don't say you just suddenly die, you won't even remember what you look like. It's like when you look in the mirror at the last time, when you die, if you die proper, you don't really care what you look like. But you'll forget that quickly, how you looked. That you won't be thinking that. Well, if you die, you won't be thinking about how you looked. And you'll really forget about how you looked in this existence. Because there are layers upon layers in this existence. I mean, our eyes can only see so much. If you really look at like what the Matrix is, it's only set up to see and perceive so much. There's so much more going on around us. And anyone that has went into the ethers, this to be true. As I was saying, moving through the purple, that's there just, you have to have your third eye open just to, get into this. And I'm not a big chakra person, these energies, because like they tell you about seven chakras that go through here, but I've been in a room full of them spinning balls. So what is that? There's no explanation of that, where I'm in a room of them balls, not just the 7, 8 here. I'm talking about the whole room. So what is that? It's not defined. And I'm going to say this, I don't trust that Reiki stuff, because there's a lot of it is self-hypnotizing. To really get into it, they give you papers to self-hypnotize yourself. So that seems disingenuous, because you're already being conditioned to accept what they're telling you. So I don't trust that Reiki stuff. I've had people offer to give it to me for free, but I don't trust it. So it's not something I would pursue. Now, if you guys feel good doing that kind of thing, okay. And it's always, you always like when you deal with things spiritually, like if somebody asks you to meditate with them, or a group meditation, you got to be kind of leery of that. That's why, when churches ask you to pray, it's just that, like, that is almost energy vampirism. Because you got a spiritually power minister, deacons, or whatever that could be feeding off the people. Not to say all of them, but it's just a way they could, especially when they say, bow your heads and pray. It's people that can leave their bodies, and then like a vacuum just starts sucking up energy from all the people. And it doesn't take long, Start sucking up all this energy that you putting out there. And so that's why it's good to keep yourself protected with certain things. You know, black stones are great for protection. So it's good. Or even, you know, colors. You can even wear certain colors for protection. Black is a great protective color, but black also is an absorber. So keep that in mind. You know, if you don't want to absorb things, don't wear black, because black will absorb. It's like people don't understand that colors that you wear, you can absorb stuff just because of what you got on. And black is one of them. Dark colors tend to absorb. So if you ever wonder why you're feeling heavy, you know, it could be what you wore that day and where you went. That's why it's cool to wash your clothes, dry clean them, or whatever you want to do. Get that off you. I suggest get zoo lights, because zoo lights are master scrubbers. This is Damberite. Papa Light. And this piece is small, but it's very powerful. Kunzite. Very powerful stone. Very powerful. Had a situation with it yesterday, and it peeled back another layer, which was like, it's like, okay. And my wife used to say, you know, I go through these experiences and meet these inagreeable entities, and you know, I have no fear of going back, because I know everything in this room, in this house, works for me and keep me protected. That's a shield. And that's just the way you know, spiritually, you just want to be protected. That's the biggest thing of spiritually. And you don't want to be vampired on, because again, vampire ain't just taking your blood, it's taking your energy away from you. You never been in an argument where you're in the argument and after the argument you feel drained, you know, or you feel frustrated, maybe even a headache. Some people like to argue because they feed off of that. It's like my first wife called my second wife a drama queen because she likes drama in her life. You know, like I thought it was just me. No, all her other relationships, there's some point in her life where she's had drama with these people. So you figure that she must like it. And there's certain things I'll forgive people, but other things that, you know, it's like, and she's very forgiving. It's like, I'm not gonna tell her business, but she's very forgiving. That's all I got to say. She's very forgiving, but she's hit that 50 mark. And what happened with some women get 50, they just settle because they don't think that they can get better. You know, they don't think they could do better. Some, and I think she's tied into that, because when that youthful look goes away, you know, when the makeup and stuff don't keep you youthful looking, makes certain women, you know, feel a certain way. Then when you see young people not checking you out, or men not checking you out as much. When that happens to men, you know, as men get older, you know, women don't look at you as like they used to look at you, unless you like me and always be on your shit. You know, it's just the way I look and the way I dress. Motherfuckers always check me out because I stand out. I look unique, and I don't do it on purpose. It's just the shit I like. And people tend to notice my style, I guess is the best way I can say it. Because you see niggas come on here and you see how they are. You know, these motherfuckers ain't got any style. It's the only way I can say it. Motherfuckers don't have any style. And if you meet them in person, you'll see the same thing. That they ain't really got any style. You know, you see their clothes and shit, they ain't really got it. Can't say they in the lame area, but you could just tell by when people present themselves. Because you ain't got to wear, you know, Mason suit and tie. That's Mason wear. Nothing wrong with having a suit, but that's Mason. You know, Masons is the one that still push. That's the George Washington. They the ones that still push that suit and tie shit. That's why you still see the people on the news and at work. You know, that's all Masons from the Masons. That's the George Washington. They want you to keep wearing that shit. I mean, why is it that men's clothes have only changed in the last 20, 30 years? Up until the 70s, men's clothes didn't really change. And in the 70s, you started seeing sweatsuits being more acceptable. Leisure clothes being more acceptable. Comfortable clothes being more acceptable. As I said, you look at the NFL players, they may wear the suits, but they damn if they wearing them dress shoes. You only seeing dudes who wasn't athletes wearing dress shoes. But dudes who's athletes and got to stand for a minute, ain't no way they wearing dress shoes. You see them wearing more comfortable tennis shoes. Just look on the NFL Sunday thing on the players. Not the ones that wasn't players, but the ones that's players, and see if every time they ain't wearing dress shoes, because dress shoes is, if you've been an athlete, you can't wear those flat, hard shoes. You got to have some support. And so I don't really, well, I guess some of my boots is kind of dressy, but I don't really have a pair of Gators anymore. Stacy's. I don't wear that shit anymore because I can't. They're too flat. I need something. And it's funny how now you can get the Gators with the tennis shoe, the Gators with the Max pocket, but they ain't the same, and they still ain't comfortable. And like spirituality, like, the animals I see, I got these cards I always look up if I run into a different kind of animals. I was looking at, I ran into a woodpecker, and I thought my cards had it, and our cards didn't have it. It was two kind of animals I ran into. Woodpecker. There was another one, and they weren't in my cards. What was the other one? I can't think of the other one, but one was a woodpecker. And I looked in this book I got and my cards. Here's the companion book, and they weren't in either. And sometimes I'll give animal spirits out too. Because sometimes that gives you a little insight of what energy is coming, or what energy or what it means that you ran into one of these animals. So, and that's why I was saying, when I walk around the lake, I touch a lot of the oak trees because I try to become grounded. And that's why I was saying earlier, you have a tree, it's great. Like my tree out front, I have a little tree out front, and it's the way it budded and stuff. It really didn't get full all year, so I know it's ready to sleep. But again, I try to touch all the things nature that I can. I have a evergreen tree, pine tree in my backyard. Ground around it. Oh, Jamar, what's happening?
You got to have
Thank
vision.
you for joining. And so life is really what you make it, and how you present yourself is, the care you put into yourself. It is how you make it, and only you can make the path. And I don't know about being alpha male, but it's like it's not hard to be a leader. And sports is one thing that teaches you how to be a leader instead of a follower. Because a lot of men, they be following even their wives. They be followers. They don't try to be leaders. They follow their wife. I know one dude, he thinks he can't do better. And he quit talking to his daughter. He chose his wife over his own daughter and granddaughter. Or grandson. So why would you do that? Why would you listen to a woman? I'm like, okay, you're going to be upset? Whatever it is. You want to leave? Okay, I'm going to still be with my daughter because that's my blood. I wouldn't take that kind of, you got to take one or the other. I was like, I wouldn't fall for that. And some men will, and he's that kind of dude. He don't feel he can do any better than her. To him, that's his trophy wife. That's a sad life to live. When you have that chance to have grandchildren, that's really sad. So your blood is your blood. That's all. Some people, you just, they never know. They just look at, they might not have this opportunity. They don't want to be lonely. So they'll put up with all kind of shit. And I've put up with shit in the past, but it was like I needed help with children. And my ex was the one that was supposed to be helping with my children. But I got to the point where, I don't need you. I can just take these children and be okay without you. And that's what it came to. You know, in 2010, I was given full custody of my children. So, and was able to show her, I don't need you. And these children, they will see you occasionally. Because she didn't really want the responsibility when it came down to it. Not really. Not every day. Me, I want to be there for the colds when they sick. If I have to stay all night to try to break a fever and then get up and go to work the next morning, that's just part of being a parent. That's what I signed up for having them. And a lot of people don't look at it like that, but that's what you really do. That's what you sign up for when you have children, to take care of them the best you can. To take this tiny human that lives from 2-3 days to, like, my daughter's 13. You know, all my children, I started from when they came out to taking care of them to the point where they are now. And, you know, we forget, like a woman forgets the pain of having a baby. That's why they'll do it again. One of my partners and his wife is just super gorgeous, but I think they're on their 5th or 6th child. She's pregnant again, and she has, like, I think a 1-year-old right now. And I think this is her 5th or 6th. I have to see, but he's one of my good friends. They're still in their 40s, I think. They're still pretty young. Yeah, because I've been here 18 years. He was 25, so you got to add that. He was 23, 24, so you got to add 18 to that. So they're in their 40s, but, you know, beautiful woman, beautiful children. I think he's a graphic artist. I'm not sure what his wife does, but they both work and both, you know, they live in California. So, you know, they got to be, you know, California's not cheap to live. So, you know, they have to do something to, you know, have a good life out there, because it's not cheap. As you guys know, it's not cheap to live in California. Well, yeah, I'm up later than I wanted to be. Thank you for coming. I think me and Blue Marvel, we're gonna try to do a show the next couple of days, probably Friday at around midnight, or between 10 and midnight. Look for me Friday. And then I'll be back for sure Sunday to, you know, break down the games. But this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am Big Pontiac. I am 8 Wind. I am the Time Lord. Till we meet again, thank you.